visual recreation, the essential video guide to winning FML each and every week. I'm your local King Friday Drew.
Right. And I'm Joey, the strategy guy, and this week, 3 new movies enter the box office, and one of them is gonna destroy. Let's talk about that right now in the new movies. Alright, the first movie we're going to be talking about is 21 Bridges. Now, after uncovering a massive and unexpected conspiracy, an NYPD detective is thrust into a citywide manhunt for a pair of cop killers. Now, this movie stars Chadwick Boseman,
Black Panther,
J.K. Simmons, Sienna Miller, just to name a few, and was directed by Brian Kirk. You know Brian Kirk, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, he's known for directing TV shows like Game of Thrones and Luther.
That's right. Now, this is an action, crime, drama, thriller that was distributed by STX Entertainment. This is rated R. The Pro Box Office has this long-range forecast around $9 million, which is a 10% decrease from last weekend's long-range forecast. It has an opening range of 7 to 12 million, and it's supposed to be opening up in an estimated 2,700 theaters. Now, when looking at comps, we looked at Peppermint, which is also an STX Entertainment rated R action thriller starring Jennifer Garner that premiered last September with $13 million in around 2,900 theaters.
Yep. And we also took a look at Foreigner, which premiered October of 2017 with $13.1 million in over 2,500 theaters.
That's right. Now let's go on to our next movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Would you be my neighbor?
Sure. What's it about?
Okay, I wasn't asking you, I was asking them.
Okay.
But this movie is based off of the real-life events of Mr. Fred Rogers and how he befriends a journalist named Tom. Now, this movie stars Tom Hanks, Christine Lottie, and Matthew Rhys, and it was directed by Michelle Heller, who also directed The Diary of a Teenage Girl. And can you ever forgive me?
Absolutely, I forgive you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, now this is a biography drama with a runtime of around an hour 48 minutes.
Ooh.
The long-range forecast, according to Box Office Pro, is $18 million, which is a negative 5% decrease from the prior weeks, and its opening range is between 16 million and 21 million.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, when looking at comps, we took a look at Saving Mr. Banks, which premiered December of 2013, and the second weekend it expanded to over 2,100 theaters, and it made $9 million, which gave it a 4,400 PTA, which if you take a look at A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood's theater count, you'll end up with around $13.6 million.
That's right. Then the other comp we looked at was A Dolphin's Tale, which premiered in September of 2011, and that made around $19 million in 3,500 theaters.
Yes.
But now, do you want to talk about Frozen?
I never thought you would ask.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. I'm gonna let it go.
Okay, yeah, let it go. Now, the biggest movie of the weekend, Frozen 2, is premiering. Now, Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, Olaf, Sven, they all leave Arendelle.
All the above.
Yes, everyone from the first movie leave Arendelle to travel to an ancient, autumn-bound forest of an enchanted land.
That's right.
They set out to find the origin of Elsa's powers in order to save their kingdom. Now, Frozen 2 stars Kristen Bell, Jonathan Groff, and Evan Rachel Wood, just to name a few. This film was also directed by Chris Buck, who directed the first Frozen, and Jennifer Lee, who was a writer and produced the first Frozen. So they know what they're doing with Frozen 2. We can trust them.
Yeah, we can trust them for sure, Joey. We can trust them all we want. Now, Walt Disney Studios made this movie just like the first one. This is an adventure, animation, comedy, musical, action, whatever you want it, it's in there. It's for everybody. It's for everybody in your family, whether you like it or not. This has a runtime of an hour and 43 minutes. Long range forecast on Pro Box Office has this one at $130 million, which is a 4% increase from the previous week, meaning this movie's going to be big. It has an opening range of $121 million to $160 million, and has an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, which doesn't have as good as of a Rotten Tomato score as the first Frozen, which got like a 90%. Just throwing that out there. Speaking of the first Frozen,
okay,
that one opened in November of 2013 with $67 million in over 3,700 theaters.
Yes, and another comp we're looking at is Incredibles 2. With all the hype surrounding Frozen and Frozen 2, and everyone loved Incredibles, and they loved Incredibles 2, which opened June of 2018 with $182.6 million in over 4,400 theaters. That was big. It wrecked the box office.
Speaking of wreck, let's talk about Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet. We just want to bring this up because Disney normally spreads out their sequels and they don't normally come out the same time as the original films. But Ralph Breaks the Internet and Wreck-It Ralph both came out in November, kind of close to each other, kind of like how Frozen and Frozen 2 came out. Wreck-It Ralph opened to $49 million, and Wreck-It Ralph actually increased in November to $56 million, which was about plus 10, plus 12% increase, meaning that with Frozen's trajectory and momentum, this one's gonna definitely make more than Frozen 1.
Oh yeah.
It could, but not just 10%. We're talking about like possibly even doubling it to 130 to 140. I mean, that movie, Joey and I thought it came out in 2016 and 2017 because it was so popular and it lasted so long. It had long trajectory. But we were very shocked to see that it was opened up in 2013, 6 years ago.
Yeah, and it's still very relevant and popular today. So then the hype behind it, it's gonna skyrocket. Frozen 2 is gonna make bank this weekend.
But let's save that for the next segment, which is happening right now, called Movie Radar or the Modar.
Yes, we were getting a little bit excited before we got to the Modar, but let's take a look because what's on the Modar this weekend, in my opinion, look out family films, look out animations, look out any other movies that are out there that are for the family, because Frozen 2 is about to stomp all over them.
That's right. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think we can just summate it. You're gonna play one day of Frozen.
Absolutely.
Of Frozen 2.
At least one day.
You're gonna play Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I think with these kids films, we noticed that Sunday, depending on pricing.
Yeah.
But Sunday seems to be the better hold, if I can remember off the top of my brain. But it really does depend on pricing. Also, it's the time of year. This is one of the first Disney movies to be released not on actual Thanksgiving weekends. And I think that's gonna benefit this movie because then not only will kids kind of already be out, I feel like though kids will already be out and schools will be out around that time, but then they have the whole next week to see it rather than it coming out on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you're kind of drumbling up all the movie times and everything for the next weekend with Knives Out and all this other stuff.
Good point.
Sunday's your best way to go, in my opinion, without knowing anything.
Right.
Without knowing anything. This is filmed well before pricing, but I'm just gonna say Sunday. Sunday.
Nice. Well, I'm not gonna definitively give you a day. It's a very bold choice. I like that, but definitely you're gonna want to play Frozen. It's definitely gonna be in your perfect Cineplex. We know that for sure. Looking at 21 Bridges, though, I will say it's probably gonna come in somewhere on the lower side of its forecast. So I like the $9 million of its long range right now. If it continues to go down, though, I don't know, it's something to look at over the course of this week. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, I would say, it's probably going to fall right in the middle of that 16 and 21 million estimate range, just because Frozen's going to be so big. It's going to pull from that Beautiful Day crowd. Kids are going to want to go see Frozen 2.
Right.
But
yes, and just be wary because Vincent Pricing has been doing a great job on pricing these past few weeks, so he's going to put very competitive prices, especially with Frozen 2. It's going to be seeming like a lot of things could happen. Maybe the 21 Bridges will have some I Dare You pricing. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, I don't know how well it's going to do its initial thing, but going into the award season, this one has awards written all over it. Tom Hanks is probably going to be put up for Best Actor. So with that being said, it's going to be legging out. It's going to have a great legs from here on out, but I don't know exactly how well it's going to do opening weekend. That's why I'm saying Sunday at Frozen 2.
All right.
Definitive. Bold statement. If I'm a liar, well, sorry.
Let us know in the comments. But Sunday. That's all we have for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and remember, sometimes you gotta risk it to get that biscuit.